Hey lady, welcome to the Grit, Growth, Grace podcast. If we haven't met, my name is Anne Marie. I'm wife to James and mom to 4 beautiful kids, plus 1 miscarried baby, from 9 months up to 8 years. My hope is to help other women experience the postpartum period all the way up to the first year of baby's life as a time of grit, growth, and grace. This is episode 16. Hey lady, today let's talk about scaling up chores and help from your big kids. I believe big kids to be a largely untapped or undertapped, if that's a word, natural resource for postpartum moms. Maybe we're afraid of changing up too much in our older kids' routines when a new baby comes. Maybe we don't want them to resent their younger sibling who is getting lots of time and energy, especially from mom. But you and I both know we can't do it all or be it all, and tapping into the abilities and interests and desire to be helpful of our older kid or kiddos is one practical way we get off that merry-go-round. Today, let's talk about 3 scenarios. The basic option, or starter package if you will, is scaling up your older kid's chores. Second, let's get into what to do if your older kid is still little. And third, let's address what to do if your kids are plenty old enough to help, but they're not used to it and they're going to fight you tooth and nail. Basic option first. During my 3rd trimester, I start to train my older children on tasks that would be helpful to take off my plate, especially after the baby comes. This last time around, I taught my 5 and 7-year-old to load and unload the dishwasher and put away dishes on the drying rack. I wash all plastic by hand, plus all pots and pans and cookie sheets, so I wash those things, but my big kids put them away for me. Questions I like to ask myself during the 3rd trimester, if possible, but you can always start now, wherever you are postpartum. Number 1, what doesn't have to be done? Are there tasks you do that don't have to be done? If you repeatedly organize your preschooler's extensive toy dinosaur collection, or your middle schooler's shoe collection, or what have you, could you get rid of or give away some things so you don't have to keep organizing them? Dawn from the Minimal Mom YouTube channel would call this managing your inventory. Can you stop doing tasks or dramatically reduce the time it takes to do them by cutting back on inventory? Question number 2, what can be done less often? I've talked many times before about the Lazy Genius Way book by Kendra Adachi and the idea that we can choose what to be a genius about. That means what we care about versus what to be lazy about, aka things we don't care about. I do not get stressed about my kids making their beds, ever. Maybe it's because they have bunk beds, but I do not have that expectation of them. And since there is just one room in the whole house with their toys in it, and some of those toys, like Legos, get to be pretty involved, and not the type of thing you'd pack up every night and start from scratch on the next morning, I don't often expect their floor to be clean at bedtime. With my 2 little boys, I generally do. We put away the 1 basket of toys they have and the 1 basket of books. That's what I've managed their inventory down to. But with the big kids, I've consciously chosen not to sweat frequent cleaning of their room. Question number 3, what has to be done by me? Nursing the baby. Only I can do that, which means only I get up in the middle of the night. I also do most of the diaper changes. But there are all kinds of peripheral tasks that can be done by not me. Perhaps you want to hire someone, or ask for gift cards to hire someone, or ask for help from your grandma tribe with specific tasks. I especially invite you, though, to think about how you can involve your older kids. It gives them a sense of investment in your family, responsibility in your family, that is actually very healthy, that helps them bond together. They've got skin in the game. Since the baby was born, again, he's now 13 months old, my big kids are regularly folding and putting away the clothes. So those are tasks that they've started doing during the postpartum period and that's what they do moving forward. They switch clothes from the washer to the dryer for me. They bring dirty clothes from my room to the laundry room. They empty trash cans into the house into the big trash can in the kitchen. The point isn't these are things I can't do for myself. The point is these are things I don't have to do, that someone else is able to do. My 8-year-old now mows the front lawn for us, and every other month or so he'll mop the kitchen, dining room, and living room. He's capable of that. I'm teaching my 6-year-old daughter to help me clean bathrooms too. She doesn't do it alone, but she can help. There are many, many things kids aged 5-ish and up can take care of around the house. Now let's talk about scenario 2. Your big kids are actually also little. If your oldest is 18 months or less and you have a brand new baby, you're right, you have 2 very young children. Please create a grandma tribe. I beseech you. Let's say your oldest is 2 or 2.5, like my son is right now. This is an age of big temper tantrums and learning not to throw things and yell and kick and hit. But it's also an age of wanting to be so helpful. My son wants nothing more than to help load the conveyor belt at Aldi and then to unpack the groceries, preferably with the egg carton bottom side up, at the house. He's capable of throwing his diapers away, of carrying his dirty clothes to the laundry room at night, of bringing me water. He's capable of helping in all these ways, and he's only 2.5. What is possible for your child at whatever their age is? There's a really lovely quote I read recently from Book 1 of the Summa Domestica trilogy by Lila Marie Lawler. I wonder if it will resonate with you too. She writes, "When a child becomes aware of what's going on around him, he just wants to imitate and help. Children really do love to work alongside the adults who love them. Some people don't see this because they are too busy with outside activities. The focus of each day becomes getting from one place to another efficiently, and efficiency, so important to us grown-ups, is the bane of the child's existence. Frustration ensues when we try to wrestle a child into our adult world. That frustration is nothing compared with what he feels when he can't help you because you're rushing somewhere." She goes on, "The frantic activity of our lives causes us to miss the real charm of his little efforts, which are nothing compared with the charm he feels when he knows he has done something to help the bigs in his life. We must wisely see the course his interest will take over the years, when we prudently allow him time to develop his funny and possibly destructive attempts with a broom or carrying logs into the competence of a real contributor to the life of the household. Charm builds on charm if you let it." End quote. The third scenario I want to touch on is when you have big kids who are plenty old enough to help, but they're not used to helping, so they'll put up a fight. Priority number 1 here is to get on the same page with your husband so that you've got backup. Better yet, have him spearhead the recruitment of your big kids. Let him shoulder that for you, and you be the one who's consistent with him. Consistency with our kids at any age is so important, and especially as our kids grow up and have more responsibilities and independence, it's so good for them to know where we stand and where the buck stops. Consistency in what you communicate of your expectations will help them to resist first, but then gradually accept their role, their place in the family. You might be thinking, how can I suddenly start expecting this of them? How do I explain why I didn't expect this previously? Or perhaps you think, I'm asking my child to do things I wasn't expected to do growing up. I still recall talking to a coworker on night shift over a decade ago about some behavior she didn't want her own middle schoolers to repeat, but she had done it herself growing up and felt like a hypocrite. How could she ask something more of them than what she'd done herself? I know better now. I know more now. I'm smarter now. That's how. You as a parent can want better for your children than what was expected of you or what you yourself previously expected of them. Here's the key to all this, though. Scenario 1, 2, or 3. The key is to bring your kids of any age on mission with you. You as a family are on mission in this world. There's a lovely book by Amber and Dan Demete to help you determine your family's unique mission and motto, and I'll link to it in the resource email for this episode for those on my email list. But you have a mission in this world as a family, and the most basic version of it is to grow in holiness, to become saints. You do that when you're unified, when you're a unit, when you're bonded, and that means you take responsibility for and with each other in age and developmentally appropriate ways. When your older kids help take care of the new baby, you are all in this together, in the words of the popular song from the movie High School Musical that dates me. I know, it does. It dates me. This is something my family of origin did really well, cultivating what I've heard called unconditional positive regard for the arrival of a new baby. Whenever we first learned that a new baby was on the way, we were so excited. Full stop. Just pure excitement. A new baby meant more visitors, delicious food, a few extra treats, but most of all, it meant a new sibling to cuddle and squeeze and help raise. We were so excited. In my own family now, we've continued that tradition. We speak very positively of a new baby when I'm pregnant, and we all welcome that new baby when he or she arrives. Yes, there's the stress of a new family member. I don't deny that. But it's easier for my older kids to buy into the extra work because they get to see what we win, what they're working for. I hope something of that serves you. Gets your brain percolating, lady. Over and over, I'll say the same thing. You're a big girl. You're a grown up. You get to decide what serves you and what doesn't. I invite you to take any one question or thought or idea that's interesting or useful to you and just leave the rest. Heads up, I'm taking 2 weeks off of recording for a break. I hope to learn more about websites and social media during that time, but it might just be a break. We'll see. In the interim, I'd so love if you'd share this podcast with a mom friend, subscribe, and rate it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps increase searchability and visibility to other moms in your same shoes. And if you haven't already, hop on my email list at postpartumonpurpose.com. I send out 1 email a week with the resources I mentioned during that week's episode. No spam, I promise. Last but not least, feel free to message me at episode ideas over on Instagram. I'll talk to you next time.